You comfortable with how physical this series has been? And the other series seemed even more physical.
Well, I already got fined for supporting Cheryl, so yeah, which I think is crazy. But look, I think there's nothing that we want more than just consistency. That's what I would say.
Okay, buckle up, because the WNBA has done it again. Fines are flying everywhere, like confetti after a bad call, and this time, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, got slammed just for daring to agree with another coach. Can you believe it? Simply saying, yeah, I agree about the refs, is now apparently a punishable offense in this league, which is making Fever fans absolutely furious, because Caitlin Clark is still getting targeted game after game, and honestly, the entire league is starting to look like a full-blown circus. Do you think this ridiculous fine proves that the WNBA is protecting its referees more than its superstar players? We have to break this down because, truly, it's getting comical. The WNBA is trying so hard to market itself as this professional, top-tier sports league, but the way it's policing coaches, refs, and even players' casual words makes it feel more like some chaotic backyard pickup game where the refs are just like the players' oversensitive uncles. Especially after Stephanie White got hit with this fine for simply backing up Cheryl Reeve, by the way, already got slapped with a suspension and a $15,000 fine for absolutely torching the refs after a game.
Hearing other coaches, you're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt, there's fights, and this is the look that our league wants for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried not to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out and probably has a fracture. And so this is what our league wants. Okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating.
But here's the kicker, the part that makes your jaw drop. White didn't even go on some epic, chair-throwing Bobby Knight-level rant. She didn't scream at a press conference. She didn't call out specific officials. She literally just said, I already got fined for supporting Cheryl. We just want consistency. That is it. That's the entire crime. That's what earned her a nice, fat bill from the league office, making you think she must have been caught running onto the court, throwing punches or something insane. Nope, just asking for consistent officiating.
The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy.
Now, follow this wild logic. Reeve criticizes refs, bam, fine. White agrees with Reeve, boom, fine. Becky Hammond nods and says Reeve didn't lie, you guessed it, fine. Seriously. At this rate, if a coach sneezes too hard while talking about foul calls, that's a cool $1,000, and if they actually dared to laugh at a blatant blown call, consider them suspended. So yeah, the Fever fan base has every right to be absolutely heated right now, because this isn't just about Stephanie White's wallet, it's about Caitlin Clark getting targeted with aggressive play game after game while the league punishes anyone who even dares to bring it up. And let's be real, let's not play dumb here. Clark has been officiated completely differently since her rookie season kicked off. And even in year 2, stronger and smarter as she is, she still gets hammered on drives, shoved off screens, and somehow bafflingly ends up being the one getting called for fouls. You don't need a crazy conspiracy board with red string to see it. Fans watch every single night as Caitlin drives, gets hip checked, and there's no whistle. But someone breathes on Aya Whitson, and instantly, it's a whistle and free throws. And when White or anyone else just tries to ask for some freaking balance, the league acts like it's slander. Imagine telling your paying audience, don't trust your own eyes, trust us, because that's exactly what the WNBA is doing. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't solely a Caitlin problem, because the officiating has been absolute garbage across the board this entire season. Cheryl Reeve, the coach who started this whole fine fest, lost her mind for a reason. Her star player Nafisa Collier was getting hacked half to death and basically told to just play through it. Reeve spoke up, got punished. White agreed, got punished. Hammond said Reeve didn't lie, got punished. That's 3 coaches fined for the same exact issue in the span of one single week. And that, my friends, isn't accountability. That's straight up censorship. Oh, and remember that moment in the playoffs where Aya Wilson set an illegal screen? Yeah, let's talk about how embarrassing this all looks. Because fans don't just passively watch games anymore. They live on Twitter, they share clips, they compare foul counts, and what do they see? The Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. Fever shoot 34 free throws. Aces shoot a measly 11. Becky Hammon loses her mind, and the very next day, fine. Stephanie White dares to back up a fellow coach, fine. Meanwhile, the refs who completely botched those games, cricket, quiet promotions and another paycheck. Where, oh where, is their accountability? If anything, these fines just highlight how deeply insecure the league is about its own product. Instead of actually fixing the officiating, they muzzle the criticism and, instead of protecting their star players, and yes, Caitlin Clark is by a mile the main driver of viewership right now, they protect referees who are so wildly inconsistent, you'd think they were flipping coins to decide call. And let's be real, this no criticism culture makes the league look incredibly soft. The NBA has had decades of coaches ripping refs apart. Think Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, all of them torched officials in post-game interviews. And sure, they got fined, but usually for going completely nuclear, not for saying I agree. You don't cheapen the entire fine system with petty $1,000 handouts for casual comments. It makes the league look desperate for control, and frankly a little broke. Speaking of broke, fans are starting to ask a brilliant question: where does all this fine money go? According to the league, it gets split between programs like WNBA Cares and community grants, which sounds really nice on paper, but let's not pretend this money is somehow making its way into actual referee development, because if it was, we'd be seeing some serious improvement. Instead, we see the same mistakes, the same inconsistency, and the same fan outrage every single week. It's gotten so bad that conspiracy theories are actually gaining traction, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Some fans truly believe that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the league are intentionally suppressing stars like Clark by allowing refs to rough her up while simultaneously punishing her coach for speaking out. Why? To keep the league financially in check. The logic goes that if Clark explodes too big, too fast, owners get pressured to invest more things like charter flights, better salaries, bigger TV rights, so by keeping her in her place, they slow down that momentum. Do I personally buy it? Not entirely, but when you fine coaches for whispering about refs, you're feeding that exact theory. And here's where it circles back to the Fever. Indiana has become the poster child for league mishandling. Clark gets beat up, Aaliyah Boston gets hacked, Kelsey Mitchell gets mugged on drives, and when White tries to call for consistency, fans are already sick of it. They're asking why they should bother investing in this team, buying tickets, wearing jerseys, if the league itself is actively handicapping them. That's not just bad officiating anymore, that's straight up sabotaging your own product. The optics could not be worse. The Fever are finally competitive. They're one win away from potentially making the finals. Caitlin Clark is shattering viewership records, Aaliyah Boston is putting up all-star numbers, and instead of celebrating any of that, the headlines are all about fun. And instead of letting the storylines be about the Fever upsetting the Aces, it's about Stephanie White's checkbook. Way to market the game, WNBA. Fans don't chant, "We love fines," they chant, "Refs suck," and trust me, that chant is only getting loud. Clips are circulating everywhere of Clark getting knocked to the floor with no whistle, of Boston's arms getting raked, while posting up of Lexi Hull getting shoved on rebounds, and fans are piling on Twitter, yelling targeting Caitlin again. The refs want Vegas in the final. Kathy is protecting her favorites. Whether any of it's true or not, perception is everything, and right now, the perception is downright ugly. What's worse is how incredibly predictable it all feels. Everyone knew Reeve would get fined after her outburst. Everyone guessed Hammond would too, and everyone joked White would get tagged for simply agreeing with them. And then it actually happened. Fans shouldn't be predicting league punishments like it's a reality TV show. That's how unserious the league looks. And let's not ignore the huge risk here, alienating your biggest star. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw this league has ever seen, more than Diana Taurasi, more than Maya Moore, more than Sue Bird. She's a ratings magnet. She's selling out arenas on the road, and instead of protecting her from being hacked and abused every single night, the league fines her coach for defending her. What kind of message does that send? shut up and just take the abuse. Good luck with that long term, because players talk, agents talk, and if stars start to believe the league genuinely doesn't care about their safety or fair treatment, you've got a problem that no amount of fine money can ever cover.
Going to Aaliyah the second half. What was, I guess, difficult about containing her? I know you guys kind of touched on a few things, maybe with the foul calls, but what made it successful for them to keep going to her tonight?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle. And she shot 13 today. Yeah. Yeah. She said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool. So we just got to play their better defense, make her looks a little difficult, and kind of go from there.
And hey, while we're on the topic, let's call out the absolute hypocrisy. Becky Hammon is suddenly furious about free throw discrepancies, but where, oh where, was that fiery energy when her aces were getting those sweet, favorable whistles all season long? Where was the outrage when Caitlin Clark couldn't get a single call to save her life against Vegas earlier this year? Now that the shoe's on the other foot, and it's her team feeling the sting, suddenly, the refs are incompetent? Welcome to Indiana's world, Becky.
While you're looking at that box score, I'm wondering what's really standing out to you there.
I was just looking at the fouls. Like, Liz had 5, Jackie had 5, Chelsea had 5. And that's very interesting to me because I'm not saying we don't foul. Yeah, we foul here, but that's very interesting.
Megan had 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. But we'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
By interesting, do you mean that shit?
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brand to protect. But
You say it, I have no brand.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
That's what makes this whole fine spree even funnier, if you can believe it. Because coaches aren't even saying anything groundbreaking or revolutionary. They're just stating what every single fan already sees with their own eyes. Consistency, accountability, the absolute basics of officiating. Instead, the league acts like refs are sacred cows, untouchable deities, and if you dare criticize them, you're treated like a criminal. Meanwhile, fans are left screaming at their TVs, how is that not a foul? Here's the brutal reality. This problem doesn't just magically disappear with silence. Muzzling coaches only makes fans more convinced the league is hiding something. If refs were actually evaluated, if mistakes were openly admitted, if there was some transparency, people would move on. But the WNBA refuses to be transparent. They act like bad calls never happened, and when anyone points it out, boom, fine. That's not professionalism, that's insecurity. Plain and simple. And Indiana Fever fans are truly reaching their breaking point. It's one thing to fight through growing pains, or to lose a game because you're simply outplayed, but it's an entirely different beast to feel like the league itself is actively tilting the floor against you. The Fever are finally relevant again, they're exciting, they're winning, and instead of celebrating that amazing momentum, fans feel like they're battling both their opponents and the referees. And when their coach tries to advocate for them, for fair play, she gets slapped with a fine. That, my friends, is a slap in the face. Here's the thing. When a league starts finding coaches for just breathing the wrong way in post-game press conferences, it creates an image problem that is far, far bigger than any single missed foul call. The WNBA keeps telling the world it's growing, expanding, building incredible momentum, but what casual fan tunes in, sees a coach get fined for just saying consistency, and thinks, yeah, that's the league for me. Nobody. Fans aren't dumb. They compare. They've watched NBA coaches rip refs to shreds and still live to coach the next night. They've seen NFL coaches scream about holding calls, MLB managers kick dirt on umpires, sports thrive on emotion. It's a huge part of the theater, the passion. But the WNBA wants everyone to act like robots. Say nothing, show nothing, challenge nothing. And in doing so, they are actively strangling their own product. And here's the absolute funniest part of all. Fining white doesn't actually solve the problem. It doesn't suddenly make referees look competent. It doesn't erase the bad calls fans have already clipped and posted online for the world to see. And it certainly doesn't make Caitlin Clark's bruises disappear. All it does is confirm, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the league is more worried about protecting refs' delicate feelings than protecting its actual stars. That is completely backwards. And let's be honest, this is absolutely going to backfire. Fever fans are already some of the most passionate and loyal in the entire WNBA. They've been showing up in record numbers, buying merch, filling arenas, and they will defend Clark like she's family. Now you slap their coach with a fine, you just handed them a rallying cry. Expect every single Fever home game to turn into a full-blown boo-fest for refs. Expect every single bad call to spark chants of Kathy sucks. The league practically invited them. And speaking of Kathy Engelbert, this entire fine circus puts her front and center. She's the commissioner, she signs off on this, she's the one sending the message that criticism isn't allowed, but she cannot hide behind policy forever. Fans want accountability from the refs, not silence from the coaches. If anything, her obsession with image control is doing more damage to the WNBA brand than 1,000 angry Cheryl Reeve press conferences ever could. And let's not overlook the giant glaring irony here. The league constantly cries about wanting more media coverage, more eyeballs, more engagement. Well, guess what? You finally have it, thanks to Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the Fever's amazing ride. And instead of celebrating that incredible success, you're finding your way into bad press. Every headline is about fines, not the actual basketball being played. That's self-sabotage. Plain and here's the truth. The refs didn't cost the Aces every single loss, and they certainly didn't hand the Fever every single win. Indiana played their tails off, Boston was dominant, Mitchell hit huge shots, Clark, even when targeted, found ways to impact the game. That's basketball. But when refs insert themselves into the story, and the league doubles down with fines, it completely overshadows the fantastic product on the floor. And this constant targeting of Caitlin Clark is the league's single biggest blind spot. She's not a rookie anymore, she's in year 2, she's proven she belongs, proven she's a franchise player, proven she's the entire reason millions are watching, yet game after game, she gets officiated like a bench warmer. Fans see it, opposing players know it, and when her coach tries to defend her, she's punished. That is absolutely not how you build around your superstar. What the league should have done is simple. Admit refs are inconsistent, promise improvement, and just let coaches vent. That's normal. That's how professional sports work. Instead, they chose the clown route. Punish, fine, pretend everything's perfectly fine. But nothing is fine. Fans are furious. Players are frustrated. Coaches are muzzled. The only ones happy are the refs who walk away on time. At some point, the WNBA has to realize this no criticism allowed policy isn't saving them, it's actively destroying their credibility. Because every single fine makes fans less likely to trust the refs, less likely to trust the league, and more likely to believe in those wild conspiracy theories. You don't build trust by silencing voices, you build it by owning mistakes. Until they learn that, this frustrating cycle will just keep repeating. So here we are again, another fine, another mess, and another reason fans are shaking their heads at the WNBA. Stephanie White spoke up for consistency, and the league slapped her down. Fever fans are boiling, Caitlin Clark is still taking hits, and the refs keep skating. Drop your thoughts below. Did the WNBA completely cross the line with this fine? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.